This man came to our page and left a book. Oh, this is rich. Yeah, we inspired him. Oh man, I think I better put a stop to that kind of stuff. You know. Now he sat down there all that time and typed all of that just to get it erased. Oh man, wow, these people. Mm, mm, mm. Mm.
Support the efforts of unity and rebuilding. This is the website of www.unity and rebuilding funds.com. That's www.unity and rebuilding funds.com. We often hear how we work together. We're actually we make online donations and click on the link to track the progress of unity and rebuilding. For more information, please increase 800 the local
SOS Graphic Design provides agency product special graphic design services for established companies and individuals, creating a simple logo with a free branding and delivering visual communications with this feedback. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single design approach. Set your business apart. We are experts service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.solsgraphicdesign.com. Hey, sisters, are you looking for quality hair layers and styles specialized in active hair? Then check out the Good Braid School, located at 7600 West 8 Mile Road in Southfield. We specialize in children's braids, TV twists, Havana twists, box braids, individual, Marley twists, crochet braids, and birds. And best of all, we cater to you, providing all of your hair solutions. For additional information or to schedule your appointment, call 248-552-6302 or visit us on the web.
You're watching W33 Live, Detroit Island Park, Michigan. FM 88.1 WHBR, Island Park, WPIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands. The opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily views and opinions of those Why? Or response. Brothers and sisters, are you tired of the whole scripture and not doing something? And are reasonably sure that
This conference is being recorded. The recording has started.
let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another. From a scriptural discussion, from a man. A lot of our men every Sunday at work. And an 88 going to get dark and communicate. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible? Have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and the truth. So then, from scriptural discussions with other men every Sunday at 12 noon at your XM 88.1 television yard and contact cable. You call in live on the air and 868 0342 and 868 0355. Of course, the area code 3. That's 313 868 0342 and 868 0354. And now let's go live. Scriptural discussion. Amen.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet you all once again who have the hunger and thirst for righteousness, which is laid out in Allah's instruction in righteousness, which we call Holy Scriptures. I greet you all in the greeting words of peace. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I greet all of you who have the hunger and thirst for Allah's righteousness, which He laid out in His Word, which we call Holy Scriptures. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace that He taught us through His messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which I am sharing with you. I greet you. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum. Now, you know, we live in a world that has taught us, for the most part, by example, wrong. That's why the world is in the shape it's in. You know, if you want to know what that's the one thing about math. Mathematics just won't lie. When you know how to use math, it just won't lie. It's like there's an axiom that scientists use that the whole is equal to the sum, SUM, of its parts. You see, as you understand, what all of the parts adds up to is the whole. Do you understand? That's math. You know, it's just like no matter what fractions you start with, if you start off with trillionths, then 1 trillion trillionths adds up to 1. 1 is equal to the sum of its parts. The parts of one is fractions. Makes no difference which fractions you come up with. They still add up to one. If you put them all together, they add up to one. Fractions are parts of one. Do you understand? Okay. Now, just like us, we started off as parts before we became a whole. Right? So the little clot was a part of us. Then the blastocyst still was us. Just some more parts of us. Is that right? All them fractions. The lump of flesh, the embryo, still parts. It's a complete, and yet it's an incomplete part of us. Right? There you go. So math just won't help you lie. When you know how to use math, math is always truthful. When you look at that, when you look at all of the wisdom of this world, I'm so thankful that Jesus, when he was speaking to Pilate, he made it true. What I used to hear my brothers saying, and I picked it up. You know, I don't try to pretend I was the author of it, but it sounded cool to say. So now I'm finding out that he didn't even get it from, even those who thought they had made it up, they didn't get it from themselves. They got it from the coolest, the men of God. And so, but before I say it, I want to remind you that everything that you see in this world is the result of the wisdom of this world. You cannot separate the wisdom from that which the wisdom produced. Matter of fact, that's how you determine what kind of wisdom you had. By what that produced. Is that right? So I want you to turn to the book of John with me, the 18th chapter. And, I'm going to take my time. I remember the man asked me, it's strange, it sounded strange for somebody to tell me that they want equal time. He thought he didn't know what kind of forum he was in. Have you ever known me to put a time limit on people on how long they could talk? But anyway, it struck me as, I know what that statement came from. That statement came from people who are used to doing something the wrong way. You see, liars never want you to stop them in the middle of their spin. They want to spin it, and then knowing that you can't remember every little detail, so they, as the old saying go, they throw it all up against the wall and see what sticks. Do you do you understand? A liar, if you get to talking to a liar, one of the first things that you will discover about a liar is that he hates questions. Don't no liar want you to stop him in the middle of what he's saying to ask him a question. Because the lie has no roots. It has no stability. You see? So, you know, the minute you start questioning him for roots and how he got to that, there's nothing that led up to it. He just made that up. You know, what would be the point of me standing up in front of the world talking out of a book that I'm the only one got that book? Telling people I'm teaching them something. I ain't never seen a class that didn't have a book. And all the students had the book too. Is that right? You know, I mean, people come in here and just insult us. Now, you know, maybe I shouldn't lay such a I don't know how to teach without laying a foundation. I just can't do that. You know, but I'm kind of defeating my own purpose. I wanted people to come in here, but once they see how much I know, they get frightened off. But, you know, I'm trying to show you how to stop people from lying to you. You see, the first thing you have to do if you want to stop people from lying to you is you have to learn to listen. When people are speaking to you, instead of just being quiet, waiting for your turn to talk, be quiet and listen to what they're saying so that you will have something to talk about if you having a two-way conversation. You don't have to wonder what you're going to talk about. They're giving you what to talk about when they're talking to you. Do you understand? Yes. You don't have to wonder what you're going to ask them. You just keep listening until, you know, they say something that you don't see any proof of or that you don't understand. Now they've taught you a question. You don't have to be knowledgeable of everything to have an intelligent conversation. All you have to do is be a good listener. And you can talk to anybody. Especially somebody who's trying to convince you of something. You know, if people trying to convert you or convince you to do something or to be part of something, it's easy to talk to people like that if you're a good listener. You know, it's just like when you go to buy a car. The salesman trying to sell you a car. Well, okay. You know, how many miles on it? Since most of the time we go looking for a used one. And if you can, always purchase the wealthy man's used car. Because oftentimes a man who was wealthy, if he's a rich man, if you purchase his used car, it's probably in better shape than a lot of them new ones. Because he had the wherewithal and the ability to whatever was wrong with it, he fixed it. So it's intelligent. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us this. He taught us to, when you buy anything used, try to get that which the wealthy or the rich man had. And you will have something that's of good value. And now, but anyway, let's go back to what I was saying. My I'm so thankful that I understand what the kingdom of medicine is. Thanks to the word of God, I've, that's the one thing about once you can understand the best knower, everything else gets easy. Everybody else is easy to understand. Once Allah opened up his word to me, your word became simple. That's why I can talk to people for a little while and start telling them what they got in their heart. They may get mad at me, but I find out what's in your heart. That's part of what that song said. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He's sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. If you know what questions to ask, people will be done told on themselves before they even know they done did it. Yeah, that's why people don't like to talk to me. Because, I ask questions that don't seem to be relevant to anything. I know that. But when good lawyers, they do that in court. He got the deposition he done took of you. He'll ask you a lot of questions that may not have had nothing to do with the deposition he took. But eventually he asks you something that he already asked you once. And the only way you're going to remember it is if you told the truth. If you lied, yeah, he checked that off. He said, well, that ain't what you said, so and so, such and such, when I asked you that. Oh, yes, it is what I said. No, that's not what you said. This is what you said. Huh? And it's downhill from there, because once he catch you in one lie, now your thinking process is all messed up. You can't relax no more, and you know what happens when you get scared. Fear is a mind killer. I got that off of Doom. It was true. You ever heard the term paralyzed with fear? What makes you paralyzed when you really got all of the use of your limbs and everything? Then why are you paralyzed? Your thought process done froze up. And when the mind can't think, we freeze. Fear is the mind killer. So I want you to relax. When you know that you don't mean any harm to anyone, it's just natural to be relaxed. You don't have to be paranoid. It's almost impossible to be paranoid when you know you don't mean any harm to anyone. You know why? Yes, you do. You know why. Tell me why. Well, that's close, son. But the truth of the matter is, the reason you don't feel paranoid that somebody gonna do you something is because you ain't planning on doing nothing to nobody. Most of the time, it's just like if you out there with an M16, getting ready to spring an ambush. Well, certainly you looking around to see who wasn't getting ready to spring one on you. Why? Because you at war, man. We gonna try to beat the other fella to the punch. But if you not planning evil for other people, you have no reason to suspect that where you go, people are planning evil for you. It's just like with me, I'm not walking around here paranoid and looking all over my shoulder to see who trying to do something to me. You know, it don't take long for people to talk to me to realize that I don't mean them nothing but good. Even when I'm fussing at them. Because they see how quick I stop fussing when they do better. I ain't still running around cutting my eyes over there at them after they done corrected whatever it was I was fussing about. Y'all the one makes it personal. You know, that's one thing I agree with them mafia people, right? It's nothing personal. It's just business. I'm just handling my father's business. I'm about the business of trying to save as many people as I can from the destruction of a world that you grew up in. So here you got people that disagree with me. Here's a man sit down at his typewriter, not at his typewriter, at his computer. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. This man sat down and wrote a small book. His name is Algeria Muhammad. What video was it on, brother? Huh? Monday. On Monday's meeting. And you gonna tell me that I'm not touching hearts? I'm touching the hearts of people. And that's what I want to do. Now, he sat down and typed all of that. And before I had brother erase it, I told him to print it out. How many times have I told you? See, they don't listen. I mean, you know why I stopped my Friday morning with Miss Ramsey? Why did I tell you I stopped? Because it dawned on me that it was not really doing any good when all people was calling in for mostly was to vent. They wasn't really wanting to get no real clarity or understanding, because every Friday just about it'd be the same people saying the same thing even after I done addressed it already. And then it wind up, you know, I mean, I'm not the person who gets into insulting matches with you. And I told you that I'm not going to take your insults anymore. No matter what form I enter into, when you insult me, I'm subject to cast you into hell. So to keep me from falling on you, I excused myself from that form when I saw that it wasn't doing you no good. And I told you, like my mother, when I was first accepted Islam, I was still the son of man. Just because I was a baby didn't make me not the son of man. So, you know, when my mother was saying things to me that was wrong, but she thought she was right. Now I'm there fussing back and forth with her about religion. I wasn't being disrespectful. I was just disagreeing with her respectfully. And but she was getting herself in trouble because sometimes she would say things like saying something negative or hateful about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you can't do that. If you're not allowed to talk nonsense about the messages that the messengers of God bring, you're not allowed to talk nonsense about God's messengers. When you judge God's messengers, you or putting yourself in a position where you'll be judged. Judge not. And so my niece, she told me, she said, what you trying to do? Get her in trouble? And I knew then that it was something was wrong. My niece was 3 years old. She had no business having that kind of sense. No, so I stopped fussing with my mama. I left my mama alone because I know I didn't want to get my mama in trouble. First thing I asked Brother Donald when I found out the truth. And I said, well, brother, what about my mama? My mama been practicing Christianity all her life and really trying to practice. And really, you know, she's been good. And he said, well, brother, that's up to Allah. And he left it just like that. And but that was the first one I thought about when I realized that the true religion was not Christianity. And, you know, it did me a world of good to go in there and read and realize that I wasn't wrong for feeling like if people had offered me the orthodox practice of Islam, I would have chose Christianity over that. And then I find it in the Holy Quran that says that those who was nearest to the prophets in their faith are those who say we are Christians. You see? And so, you know, it said those nearest to the prophets, to the believers in faith, are those who say we are Christian. And you look at the history of Prophet Muhammad, while the people in Mecca was making war and persecuting Prophet Muhammad and his followers, a Christian king took them in and protected them from them. And you know, this is, and you see a Christian country still taking in people who getting persecuted by so-called Muslims. So ain't no sense you looking at me mad because I defend America for the best of what she has done. Oh, and by the way, I'm glad I said she. Let me tell y'all something. All you women in this country, are you aware that you outnumber the men in this country? You are aware of that, right? Then don't you know you could vote yourself into every office in the country if you wanted to? Unless they take the right to vote from you. You can't vote yourself into the office of servants of God, because God is the one that put people in that, and he said he would not have you to usurp authority over the man. Politicians ain't the authority on this planet. God is. But if you really want if you want the whole truth, they call Babylon she. And you listen to some of these women and you listen to some of these men, and I'm going to tell you something. I'd much rather have women in charge. As far as the government go, they got more compassion. They ain't going to be in there raping people. You ain't never heard of a woman raping somebody. Well, I'm just telling you. Now, I've given you, I'll back you up. If you want to do it, go ahead. Maybe you can save the fools and show them how it should have been done. It ain't a man walking that didn't have a mother. And why would you mistreat women? Your mother's a woman. So I'm just giving you something where you need to stop acting like victims. You have the power to vote people into these offices that will do justice. All you have to do is unite and do it. That don't mean you're against men. If you find a man that's decent and respectful, put him in there. If he ain't, run his behind out of there. Am I clear? Now, let's get back to this here. Now, let me tell you something. He spent all that time typing something to show you that if he had been listening, he would have known that was a waste of time. Because if you are not willing to come in and have a conversation with me about what you are typing, I've already made it clear to you that I'm going to erase it. Now, why would you spend all this time typing all of this just to get it erased because you're too cowardly to come in and have a conversation with me about it? The reason you don't want to have a conversation with me about it is because you have been taught bigotry. And you have been taught bigotry by example. Even these so-called presidential debates, it's just two bigots standing up there talking. One get 3 minutes to tell as many lies as he can get in, and then the other one get another 3 minutes to tell as many lies as he can get in. That's not a debate. A debate is what happens between truthful people, between scientists. When a scientist uses one word that is seemingly not, the other scientists say, wait a minute. How does that apply to this discussion? They make you prove what you say or take it back. Now, to show you that I'm not afraid of anything that you remember I told you that if you've told people the truth, you don't have to fear who's going to come behind you and say something else. If you really gave or taught people the truth, it's just like my math teachers taught me back in elementary school that 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 8 is 16, 2 times 9 is 18, 2 times 10 is 20, 2 times 11 is 22, and 2 times 12 is 24. It's a whole lot of people that came and taught me a lot of things behind that. But ain't nobody can teach me that 2 times 2 ain't 4. Because not only did they first get me to learn those timetables, then they commenced to teaching me why 2 times 2 is 4. And to show you the truth is independent. Once you have it, then the truth protects itself. You don't defend the truth. The truth defends your position and defends itself. Now, many people think that if they come in here, that, well, I ain't gonna be able to talk. Didn't I offer to let them host it and I will speak when they tell me that I can speak? Now, I'll tell you what, Algeria and all these other people out there that's got something that they think they need, this is how he started off his. He said, I remember this man came into the meeting and said he had a problem with the messenger. that the messenger's teachings was full of errors. And the messenger said, come on out, my brother, and tell me some of them. He commenced to stand up talking and talking and talking. And next thing you know, he preaching to the people. And one of the secretaries kind of told the messenger, said, well, dear apostle, he's not actually talking to you. He's just preaching. The messenger said, brother, talk to me and not to the congregation. You said your problem was with me in so many words. And then the man admitted, I'm out of order. I'm out of order. Yeah, he was out of order. He just wanted an audience. He ain't yet pointed out what the messenger was teaching that was error. And so, now this man starts off. Notice now, didn't I invite all of them in to come in and talk to y'all? In my presence? Okay. Assalamu alaikum. To all of my dear and wonderful brothers and sisters who follow Marvin Muhammad. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad in Message to the Black Man, Fall of America, and Our Savior Has Arrived, has taught us to turn our understanding towards Master Farad Muhammad as our spiritual center of worship. I don't know where he got that from. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, he said, if you are my followers, seek the way through me. He didn't tell us to turn to Master Farad Muhammad. Master Farad Muhammad was gone. But you see, these is the kind of things that a bigot have to do. Now, he start off with flattery to you. What is it, my dear and wonderful brothers and sisters? you don't hear nobody talk like that but Farrakhan. I mean, you notice I just call you brother. And so you can't be beautiful till you accept Islam. But anyway, I don't lay no flattery on you to get you to listen to me. Now this man, this is what I'm gonna say to all of y'all that disagree with me and think that you need to share something with the people who's listening. Come on, unmute your phone and get said whatever it is you think you need to say, and I'll sit down and listen to you. And you go ahead and get said what you think you need to say. You don't have nothing that you can say to pluck nobody out of my hand. My followers think. They're not following no personality. They're following the truth. I remember once this fella told me that my followers, if I wasn't in there, he could, what did he say he could do? In other words, he could take them. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to leave. I walked out of the auditorium. And when they got through questioning him and got through arguing with him, he was glad that I came back. You know, I mean, what you think? Because people are quiet and satisfied to accept me as the spokesperson, that they stupid? Do you think that the American people, just because they have an ambassador that speaks for them in different countries, or a president that speaks to the world in their name, do you think that the president is the only one that's got some sense? Some of them, until you got this president now, now he come out there, he get raw with you. There's some people in this country will tell you where to go. When you start talking about what you gonna do to America or do to their country or whatever. And I'm one of them. I don't believe in starting no fights with nobody. You know, I'm not out here to try to go around bullying people. But when you start thinking about you gonna come get my behind, don't you think that you're gonna leave yours at home? You got one too. And you better think hard about it. Whenever you pick a fight with somebody, you better make sure you know who you picking a fight with. I wouldn't even embarrass myself like this. Everybody on the internet that listened to me a couple of times done heard me invite people that disagree with me to come in and discuss it. You don't have to sit down and write no note like a woman. Women do that because a lot of times men won't let them talk. So they say, I can't say nothing, I'll write you a note because you won't let me get it off. Okay. Well, men don't do that because that's the way men think. Men say, well, look, man, you put your pants on one leg at a time like me. Ain't no sense you trying to sell me no wolf tickets. Ain't that right, brother? Yes. I know it's right. If you disagree with a man, you tell him like a man. Yes, sir. Ain't gonna write no note. No, you writing a note because you can't talk. Can't talk now. I don't want to discuss it. Who known for saying that? I wasn't raised by my mama. My mama the one that didn't care to go back and forth with nobody. My daddy go back and forth with whoever he felt like going back and forth with. And he wasn't gonna write you no note. If he thought you was low down, he told you, boy, you low down. And you know about it. And you know the strange thing is when he called them that, they didn't deny it. They didn't even buck up to him because he wouldn't say it unless it was true. And right after he get through fussing with them, he'd be there trying to help them do better. They knew he was not fussing with them to really belittle them. He was fussing with them to make them better. I didn't learn that until I grew up and realized, because I used to thought he's out of order. I used to think he was out of order. He ain't got no business talking to them men like that. I don't know why they don't tell him where to get off. You know, I'm mad because he always fussing at me. You know, but he's fussing at everybody. He's an equal opportunity fusser. But anyway, I learned the things that I resented in him as a child, or the things that I respected and respect the most about him now that I'm a man. You know, my dad, he cared about people, and he didn't pretend to agree with you when he didn't. If he said he agreed with you, then he agreed with you. If he said that he didn't agree with you, didn't make no difference to him how long he done known you. And he never just automatically sided with his own children. He'd always ask what happened. And when one of us would start trying to tell him, you say, you just shut up and let me talk. And you know, ain't no sense coming home to what somebody, teacher done did to you, whatever. You get it again. Because, you know, if they sent a note home that they had to swat you, you bet you if you smart, you won't take it there, but then they'll call. But you knew you was gonna get it again. Wasn't nobody gonna go down there jumping up in no teacher's face because they whipped your behind. That's the only thing they had that they could hold over you to make you do right. You listening to these white people done messed up their children. Now you letting them tell you how to raise yours. So, but anyway, yes. What is it?
Comment.
I know I'll be able to comment in a minute. Yes. What is it?
He says, just teach. You don't need to put your mouth on Farrakhan. Just teach.
Look, man, shut up. Ain't nobody said nothing. That's somebody that wants me to start talking about Minister Farrakhan. Now, you say something else to me, I'm going to throw you in hell for trying to instigate something. Now, if you don't like what I'm doing, then you just get on out of here. Or man up and come on in here and talk to me. And let me see what your major malfunction is, boy. I got that from the DIs in boot camp. That's where they used to have. Talk to you. Hey, what is your major malfunction? Come here. But anyway, I like to have a little join you a little bit, but don't come in here trying to instigate nothing. I talk about whoever I want to talk about, whenever I want to talk about. Some of y'all act like Farrakhan your wife or something. Yes, sir. What's wrong with you? If Minister Farrakhan got something that I've said about him that he want to take me to task on, you give him the number and I'll let him come in and host the broadcast so he don't feel like he's going to be slighted. And I'll be more than happy to let him question me about anything that I have said about him ever. And I'll be more than happy to explain to him why I said it. But if you smart, you'll go on and leave well enough alone. Allah told me to cast into hell every ungrateful, rebellious one. And that's exactly what I'm going to start doing. You ought to be grateful that you got a man that's standing up in front of you that ain't preaching for your money, that ain't trying to rob you, ain't trying to lie to you, ain't trying to trick you. You ought to be grateful for that. But if you're not, and then you want to come in here with a rebellious spirit that just saying something just so you think you can get a rise out of me, I'll teach you about trying to get a rise out of me. I'll give you a rise. You ain't gonna like it. Ain't nobody hid from me no more. All I got to do is say to hell with you and put 2 amens on it, and that'll be the end of that. So now, any of you that have something that you want to take me to task on, now that don't mean you can't argue with me now. The Holy Quran says argue with them in the best manner. If you have some facts that prove anything that I say to be untrue, then I need to change. You can't change facts. And you show me where I've wronged any of y'all. You can't go online and find where I went into anybody's class and acted like they wasn't in charge. The only thing I will not do is let you be in charge of trying to lynch me. The minute you cease to be in charge and you start taking sides and all that kind of stuff, when you invited me to come in, Well, I'm not going to let you be an ungracious host to me. No, I ain't going to take it. Somebody attack me, I'm going to defend myself. And just get ready, because that's what the book says. That's what my teacher taught me. Never be the aggressor upon any man. But if you are attacked, fight with those that fight with you. And Allah said in the Holy Quran, persecution is worse than slaughter. The right of self-defense is given to every human being. So now before I get into a subject, if any of you all got something you want to come in and get said, like this man wrote this 5-page letter here, I would have thought he'd had something he wanted to come in here and get said. I'm not going to read all this stuff. I told y'all I don't like reading. So ain't no sense in you sending all this stuff here from. I read all that. But you seem to have a serious issue with me. So come in and tell the people what you think they need to be told in order to save them from me. But I'm so glad that Jesus said this to Pilate. This is the 36th verse of the 18th chapter of John. Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world." What is that to say? The knowledge that I have didn't come from this world. Huh? Remember now, when you go to a university, if you put all of the universities together, they can show you all the kingdoms of their world. You know, they can, that's what in this day and time. That's why it says Satan did that in a moment of time. He was able to take Jesus up into the mountain and show him all the kingdoms of the world. And he told Jesus, he said, all this was delivered to me. And to whomsoever I will, I give it. All shall be yours if you will fall down and worship me. If you will humble yourself and let me put all my knowledge in you, so when you open your mouth, it'll be my words coming out of you. That's what he told Jesus. Jesus told him, "Get thee behind me, Satan. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve." You see? You notice, I'm the only man on this planet that the rulers, white people on down, because he at the top, have to shut their mouth at. I said, you know, what did he say? I said. I'm the only man on this planet that the current rulers of the world have to shut their mouths at. You can't see none of these people. You know, you won't hear no white man coming up here telling me, asking me, does God talk to you? Yeah, he talks to me. Anytime he pleases to, and anytime I please to. Can you say that? You heard what he told Farrakhan. Farrakhan said, of course not. and Donahue jumped right on it. He said, well, then you don't have no special stuff that I don't have, do you? And he started laughing, not realizing that Donahue laughed too, but they was laughing at him, not with him. Because it's mighty arrogant of you thinking that you can go up against the devil when God ain't with you. So I'm here. I'm here with the truth. I don't know what's wrong with that thing. Anyway, these electronic things, they full of fire, you know. You know, fire ain't lower than nobody, right? So I want you to realize what Jesus was saying. It's your world, man. I'm just living in it. See how far back that saying goes? He said, my kingdom is not of this world. The knowledge that I have, this world didn't give me. And therefore, what the world did not give, the world can't take. And what the world did not give, the world cannot understand. Look how long these books been in your hands. And look how confused you are. You're just like Benny Barbarino. I'm so confused. Yeah. You're confused. One man calling himself a Catholic, another man calling himself a Protestant, another one calling himself a Baptist, another one calling himself a Methodist, another one calling himself an Episcopalian, another one calling himself a Seventh-day Adventist, another one calling himself a Jehovah's Witness, another one calling himself a Scientologist, another one calling himself a Mormon. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And you said, where is all these books y'all got this from? And all of them recite not the Bible. Do you not see that it's no way that they could have been coexisting unless all of them was lying? No, you don't see that, do you? What I'm trying to show you is if any of them had the true religion, it would have overcame all them lies, like mine doing. You know I had to drop that on you. I mean, I'm here with the true religion. If I'm not here with the true religion, how come all the rest of them, you know, the man got the Holy Quran and one calling himself a Shiite, another one calling himself a Sunni. And when you look in the Holy Quran for them two names, they ain't in there. Which one was Prophet Muhammad? And then you try to give Prophet Muhammad the credit for establishing Islam. Prophet Muhammad did not establish Islam. Allah established Islam. And Abraham was the one that named us Muslims. Muhammad is not the father of us. Abraham was given that honor by Allah. Your name shall no longer be called Abram, but Abraham, for a father of many have I made you. So you don't know what you're talking about. And who did he say he was going to keep his covenant a secret between? He said, I'm going to make the covenant between me and you, Abraham, and your seed. Now, your seed going to be a stranger in a land that's not theirs, and they're going to serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Why? So they can come out with enough substance in their head to take my word seriously. When somebody tells you to treat others like you would like to be treated, if you ain't been through much, you think that's something just shallow. But if you've been somebody's slave, you understand the value of that. Don't nobody understand that like I do. Now, like we do. Huh? As you would that men do unto you, do ye also unto them. Huh? You see, slavery sure enough reinforced that. If you was paying attention, you know, some people like a hummingbird, you can fly all through rain and never get wet. But anyway, well, it roll off of him, you know. His feathers is waterproof, obviously. But anyway, we were not put into this experience to come out stupid. Do you not see how much wisdom Allah has placed in me? That I can stand up in front of the whole world and speak, and they cannot find any fault in what I'm saying? That's what the 400 years of suffering created in me. You see? I'm the product of that. You see, in our genes, we have been trying to overcome slavery. And we finally produced one who will lead us out. See, that someone is me. You see, you're only living in a dream world to think that you can separate a slave from his master if you can't first shut the master's mouth. And you can say what you want, but your slave master ain't saying nothing to me. He can't accuse me of nothing. He can't come in here and bedazzle me with his misrepresentation of the scripture. And he can't make no lie out of anything I say about him. So now you have a clear choice. Either go free with me or stay a slave. Now. So, and I didn't say it in a closet. I got out here on the housetop. Allah told me, whatever I say to you in your ear, you get up on the housetop. Say it through them antennas up there. It ain't just on no antenna. We out there off the satellite. The internet bouncing off of satellites, man. Allah fixed me an instrument to speak through. Yeah. Now, anybody in any country, if you outside of America, get to your typewriter. I mean, get to your computer. I mean, we got people that do that. So I know they're doing it in America. They're doing it all over. Express yourself. Huh? They're doing it on the moon. Well, it's the truth. You think that we don't know what we're talking about. You know, I have so many tools that I can use that sometimes it's just. You remember the book says that he that sitteth in the heavens shall do what? No, shall laugh at him. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Yeah.
You're watching.
This man came to our page and left a book. Oh, this is rich. Yeah, we inspired him. Oh man, I think I better put a stop to that kind of stuff. You know. Now he sat down there all that time and typed all of that just to get it erased. Oh man, all these people. Mm, mm, mm. Mm.
Help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. This is the website, www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. You often hear how we work together. We're actually, you make online donations and click on the link to start the process of Unity and Rebuilding Fund. For more information, please 800 the local.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency college professional graphic design services for established companies and individuals, creating a simple logo with a free branding and delivering visual communications with this ease. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single design approach. Set your business apart. We are experts in
This is 1 Corinthians and the second chapter. in the second chapter, it says, this is the 12th verse. Now, this is what Jesus was telling you. You notice the messengers of God are one body. They all agree with each other. Look at what Paul said. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, the mind or doctrine of the world, but the spirit which is of who? Of God. And it says that we might know the things that are freely given to us, that we might understand the things that are freely given to us by who? What did God give us? Salvation is what? The gift of God. And so what did God give us? He gave us his word. And he sent it down what? Fully explained. But you don't get the full explanation of it until the one who have ears show up. And they shall all be taught of who? By who? There you go. So now it says, which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth. Man there is talking about man of sin. You know, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And let them have what? Yeah. And who been exercising dominion from the sides of the north? There you go. Yeah. It said right here in North America, in the Northeast, in a place called D.C. And and tells everybody what to do. Is that right? They look to America for what? Leadership. And even if they say they don't, you notice everybody got some money with the picture on it, huh? Who started that? The coins they got, who started that? The stock market, who started that? The internet, who started that? So don't tell me you ain't following America's lead. If America was to be gone right now, everybody that's wealthy would lose their wealth. Anyway, let me go on here. It says, which things also we speak, that's the 13th verse, not in the words which man's wisdom, which this man of sin's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost. You notice, before, you know what a ghost is, right? Come on, tell me what a ghost is. Y'all looked at cartoons before? Okay, you remember Casper? All right. It's a disembodied spirit, right? Okay, that's what we call it, right? A disembodied spirit. Then every time you open your mouth, a disembodied spirit comes out if you speak a word. It was inside of your mouth, wasn't it? But when it left there, it was disembodied. Is that right? Okay, now what if it's the word of God? It's a holy disembodied word, huh? All right, let's go further. Which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with what? You notice I compare scriptures with scriptures. Is that right? I take you over to one, and then just like I just compared what Jesus said to what Paul said. Is that right? Okay. Then it says, but the natural man, and I have to tell you something that you know, WD said it, and he was right. Man means mind. The natural mind, the natural man, receiveth not the things of the Spirit. In order to receive spiritual words. To receive means to hear, understand. The only way you can do that is as Jesus said, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Except a man be born again. Why is it he can't see the kingdom of God? Because in order to see, you got to have what? Eyes. And if you haven't been reborn from a natural mind to a spiritual mind, then how can you see? And if you're born with eyes, what else come with you? Ears. And that also means that you are a head. I'm the only head standing around on this planet now. Everybody else is part of my body. That's why I'm the only one that can stand up and teach this, because I'm the only one with ears. He that hath ears to hear. Well, he could have just as easily said, let God hear what I'm saying here. The head of every man is Christ, and the head of Christ. So all of their words was directed to me. I'm the one that direct words to you. And so it says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. What did Mr. Stupid just say to me? Read it again.
So this is foolish, just teach.
This is foolish. Why is it foolish when I'm doing what the messenger said, that I'm so wise that I make everything of the creation bear me witness? Right after I said, if you're in another country or whatever, then express yourself. Is that right? Then why is it foolish for me to pray a song that say express yourself?
Now he's saying you just lied.
But come on in there and tell me what I'm lying about. Now remember, Prophet Muhammad said that if a person who calls themselves a Muslim calls another person who says that they are a Muslim a hypocrite, you know what declaring a man to be a liar is declaring him to be a hypocrite. Is that right? And he said if it's not true, if the accusation is not true, it reverts back to the one who first made the accusation. You know, it's just like if those people who was questioning the Attorney General, if they wasn't able to show that the Attorney General had lied, then when they suggested that he lied, if they wasn't able to produce those papers that he filled out declaring that he hadn't met with nobody or whatnot, what if they hadn't been able to produce that? Then who would have looked at like the liar? Because if you make the accusation, you're supposed to stand ready to prove it. Is that right? That's a pretty dumb fella that's typing this stuff in. And he's pretty scared too. You'll notice he won't come in here. So I don't want to hear nothing else he got to say. If you say one more word to me, I'm going to cast you in the hell for sitting up out there instigating. Because I done said enough tonight to make anybody that have an iota of decency shut their mouth at me. You know what he's really upset about? That I'm black and talking like this? That's his problem. He can't stand to see a black man speak with authority. You see? So now you say something. If he type another word to me, you let me know. Now don't say I didn't provoke him. I could provoke him, but I ain't. I just warned him. Allah said, give them warning. Well, I warned him. Okay. Now you just go and leave me alone since you don't want to follow me. Just go and leave me alone, and I'll leave you alone. I promise you, I'm not going to chase you. Wherever you go, you can get on the internet, do what you say, whatever you want against me or about me. Get your little class and teach people whatever you want to teach them. I promise you, I ain't coming over there. I'm not a mischief maker. You know, I learned from a child that you don't go into somebody else's yard and pick a fight with them. Because that fight wouldn't have happened if you had just left. If you didn't like what was going on, that's not your yard, leave. But you're not going to come in my class making mischief. Now, just mad because I'm enjoying teaching. I mean, everything they try to condemn me for, let me show you. Turn to Psalms, the 2nd chapter. In the 2nd chapter of Psalms, it says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his prophets, his anointed. You know, Christ means anointed, right? Remember, it says the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, of his anointed. Huh? All right. And it says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. You notice people are now just disavowing any belief in the Holy Scriptures. They're just saying this. I've heard people say the Scriptures are outdated because it condemns men lusting after men and that kind of thing. Right? Yes, sir. Okay. And it says, he that sitteth in the heavens, where was the Son of Man told to sit? Son of Man, sit on my right hand. Well, if God's throne is the heaven, and the Son of Man is told to sit at the right hand, well, where the Son of Man sitting at? In the heavens. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh at them, shall laugh. And now they're upset because they see me doing what the book said I would do. I can't laugh. But I mean, really? I mean, I was doing this before I even read that. But anyway, it said the Lord shall have them in what? Derision. Confusion. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath. Remember I told him I'll kill you in the hell? You come in here acting a fool with me again? Since they're upset because I'm enjoying the class. Keeping it light. Huh? I remember the messenger said, he said, we try to be a little lighthearted with you, try to be a little humor with you, so that, we know that some things that we say is a little hard on you. So we say something that may hurt your feelings. We try to remember to put a little salve on it. Huh? The doctor, when he trying to heal you, resetting bones, when you reset a bone, it creates some pain. But the doctor give you a little something, help you with the pain. Pull your teeth, give you something to help you with the pain. Is that right? Before he pull the tooth, he give you a little something to help you with the pain. Is that right? And it says, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. That's why the Prophet Muhammad said that, see, you didn't rest until you got me angry. They knew you'd do that. They provoked me to anger continually to my face. Then when you holler and want some help, you want somebody to help you, all the prophets say, no, I can't help you. I ain't never seen my Lord so angry. Now, that's what the prophets told you. You just ain't going to rest until you find out without a doubt that I am Allah. Even though the messenger already told you. You claim you believed in him. And if I ask you, who is the original man? Your answer is, the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Who is God? What is his name? The messenger told me, he said, and you heard him say it. He said, if you don't know your name, just say, I'm Allah. He said that. Call me anything but a devil's name. That's what he said. You can't point out no evil I've did to you. I certainly taught you more than any other man that ever came before you. I put myself out here in front of the whole world, in front of scholars and in front of fools. And all of you had to shut your mouth at me. And then here you come. You feel like you just got to insult me? Well, I don't have to take it. Now do it again. It says, yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. Remember now, over in the book of Revelation, they say the same thing. After telling you that my number is 603 They said, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood where? I will set my king on my holy hill. Huh? It said, I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. The word had never been made flesh until I got here. There ain't never been a man stood up and spoke with all of the scriptures before I got here. They brought parts. Then Allah told me, son of man, take the book, eat it up. And he spread it before me. And you notice all of them running away from me. And the Holy Quran asked the question, what is the matter with them that they flee from the reminder as if they are frightened jackasses fleeing from a lion? They said, no, they ain't frightened. Well, you see, they ain't frightened. They come in here and insult me all the time. No, every one of them desires that he be given pages spread out. And before I could ask Allah, were you going to do it for them like you did me? But by no means. That's what he said. You know, when somebody put it like that, by no means. That's an emphatic. He put an emphasis on it. In other words, you stand about a snowball's chance in hell to get Allah to open up something to you like he did me. If you won't hear me, he said, and that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. And he that honoreth not the Son, honoreth not the Father which hath sent him. Tell you what you do. Especially you who have hurled some insults at me. Go pray to your God and see if he'll help you against me. one that you claim you worship. Matter of fact, you come on in here and let's have prayer together. And I'll pray to my God and you pray to yours, and let's see which one of them get the answer or throwing the other one in hell. Matter of fact, just tell me what I tell you. Since I'm not nothing but the devil according to you, then why don't you why don't you cast me into hell? See, you so wicked. You know what kind of stuff you've been doing. You know you ain't got nothing but hell waiting on you if I don't take it off of you. You ain't fooling nobody, you but yourself. All of you that trust in your righteousness. The word of God already said there ain't none righteous. No. Not how many? Why you think he said he had to create somebody? I'm the only created one righteous. He created me righteous. That's why you can't find no fault. You look for some fault, but you find the scriptures. The scriptures don't condemn me in nothing. I don't accept your condemnation. Since I'm not your servant, show me where I disobeyed Allah. I disobey you all the time. I know that. You better be glad I do. Because if I obeyed you, we'd all be in trouble. So you see, everything you let fly out of your mouth, Allah already put it in the book. You call it foolishness that I'm doing, and it's written. It's foolishness to you. I'll read it again. Of course, it ain't necessary. I read it once. You know where it's at. Go read it yourself. Your nasty self. So, I want you to know, it's just like the community that I live in. The people that know me know that I mean nothing but good for them. If I can't help you, I leave you alone. How many people do you know of that's willing to just leave you alone if they can't do something good to you? Or do they always want to do something to try to hurt you? I don't go around trying to do evil to people. Produce somebody who can claim that I tried to get them to help me do evil to people. I ain't tried to do nothing but good for you. And if I couldn't help you, I might have fussed at you. And that was just so I could help you to be a better person. I haven't asked you to do nothing evil. The things that you've heard me, even conversations, some of the public conversations that you heard me when I was on the air in Natchez, talking to white people. When white people came in there and talked like they had some sense with me, you would have thought that I wasn't teaching what I was teaching because you saw how respectful I was of them. Righteousness don't make you go around disrespecting people. Righteousness demands that you respect everybody. It is not disrespect to tell people the truth about something that they are doing that's wrong. That's what a Muslim is, one who enjoins good and forbids evil. Not somebody who looked the other way because they scared to say something. Allah told me, don't be scared of you. He said, don't be afraid of their words nor their looks. So, when you really see, when the world sees what I have planned for everybody, you will hate yourself for having had any evil thought about me, let alone doing, planning to do evil to me. Because you will realize that, I truly do love you. The human family is just that. It's a family. Any man don't love his family, you shouldn't have none. Now, I'm going to get you off the hook. Understand now. The reason that people on the earth don't love each other, don't have loving deeds towards each other, is because they've been under the wrong head. The head is the one that dictates how the body acts. Well, you're getting a new head now. Don't be afraid to. You see how I gave you women that you see these women that's complaining about how they've been messed over and everything. Y'all could have been unsolved your problem. Remember Dorothy? She was running all over there looking for a way home. The wizard gave her the way home then. Told her you've been had the power to go home all the time. You've been had the power to put a stop to crooked politicians. It's called the ballot box. All you have to do is go there and vote all of them out of office. Y'all the majority. Women. And let's face it, you got some men now that believe in right. Make no mistake, there's a lot of men voted for Hillary Clinton. Now, a lot of you all you know about Hillary Clinton, for the most part, is what you was told by a lot of people who had ulterior motives. Now, I'm not saying she was the best woman for the job. I don't know nothing about Miss Clinton. I didn't know much about Joseph Biden. I didn't know much about Barack Obama. I didn't know much about Bernie Sanders. But I know this, that from what I knew about them, they supported her, so I voted for her. Because I trusted that they cared about this country. See, you all want to have it both ways. You want to pretend that you don't support no woman that's leading men. And then you take the Bible out of context. The Bible said I would not have the woman to usurp, to trick by surreptitious means the authority over the man. And as far as God's house, he said, let the woman remain silent in the church. And if she wants to know anything, let her go home and ask her husband. Huh? Okay, well, it didn't say nothing about it in the White House. Didn't say nothing about it in the Senate. Didn't say nothing about it in your natural world. In the natural world, you see, I'll show you an example. I remember I used to be online, and when I back in the the 90s, the early 90s. And I used to be online conversating with people through typing. My daughter, Jahara, used to be typing for me. She could type as fast as I could talk. I couldn't type. For anyone to think that the woman, how in the world can now you give yourself credit for being smart, right? Don't we like to think we're pretty smart, brother? Well, if God said, I will make for the man and help that is agreeable, that's what help meet, M-E-E-T, mean. It means agreeable. When two ends meet, then they are connecting properly. Huh? How in the world is a wise man going to have a woman that can help him if she's stupid? I mean, they unequally yoked then, ain't they? A wise man wants a wise woman. That's why Solomon wisely said, he said, and he literally had 1,000. He said, 1 man in 1,000 have I found. 1 man. Meaning someone who was like unto God. In the image of God. And 1 woman in 1,000 have I not found. So after he said that, he was wise enough to know that man by himself, the natural mind, cannot produce an agreeable woman. That take God. So if a man find a wife, he find a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Huh? What is a good woman? A good woman is not somebody who do everything you want her to do. A good woman is a woman who do what you need her to do. Sometimes you need correcting. If she gonna help you, I assume you want her to help you do right. Well, in order to help you do right, don't she have to tell you when you about to do something that ain't right? Then you want to bust her in the mouth. She won't be with you long. If she's smart, she won't. I remember my mother told me when we got up, when we got older, and I was sitting around talking to her, and she said, yeah, I told your daddy that if he ever hit me, that's the end of it. And she loved him. She didn't marry nobody after him. My mother was in her early 50s when my daddy passed. And I told her one day, I said, look, Ma, if you want to get with somebody else, don't let me stand in, don't let us stand in the way. Go ahead. I got no problem with that. She said, I don't want to be married no more. So, she was happy with the man she had. And she wasn't interested in that no more. But the point is, my daddy wasn't stupid. He didn't have a lot of education, but he wasn't stupid. And he didn't have no stupid wife. I remember, I know she loved him. I remember one time my mother slapped me so hard, I like to saw stars. Because she heard me mouth off at my daddy when copying off of some of my brothers. And shoot. When I came out that room, she hit me so hard, she had never hit me with her hand before, like that. I knew my mother loved her husband, and ain't no son you thinking that because I'm mama, that I'm going to let you disrespect your daddy in front of me. I never did that again. I apologized to him later, And I said, that was stupid, looking at too much TV, you know. But anyway, you know, you see them, some of them, the white children telling their daddy, I hate you, I hate you. Ah, shoot. It's just stupid. Because in the first place, I didn't mean it. I didn't, you know, I had no business telling my daddy I hated him. But I was looking at TV and thought I could get away with it. But I couldn't get away with it. And I'm glad that she and him both was together to put some sense in me. But the point is, as you look at the world and the way that it is, if you're tired of it, if you're tired of men not conducting themselves like men are supposed to, you can help us do better because you outnumber us. And you can take, certainly you want men to take their role and be what God made them to be. But if he won't live up to it, then what do? Help him. No, we're going to vote you out of office. And when you get your head on straight and you can show us that you're ready to do the right thing, we'll vote for you again. And this man want to put you out there in some combat boots. No man got no business putting this woman out there to fight. And we're going to stop all the fighting anyway. We're going to do away with wars. Why are you having all these wars? Men can't get along.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Well, it's time to learn how to get along. And I don't mean get along in wrongdoing. Correct each other. So you outnumber the men. If you wanted to, you could take over politics. If the Supreme Court won't do right, you put yourselves on that too. I'm just telling you. It's you know, I know they say that a man is a Supreme Court justice for life. But what happens if a Supreme Court justice makes fun of the Constitution? Then there has to be, you don't have to put traitors up on the Supreme Court. Anytime a man makes a joke and say that you spend as much money as you want in the electoral process and that's freedom of speech, and then laugh, that's putting your government up for sale. Ain't nothing funny about that. You better wake up. You know, white women outnumber white men and black women outnumber black men. Now, if y'all would just, you know, get your head on straight. You know what's right. You know, and knowing what's right and doing what's right is two different things. There's very few people in this country and in this world that don't know what's right. If you don't believe people know what's right, mistreat them and see how quick. Do them, if you see someone do to them what they doing to people, you'll find out right quick they know what's right. Well, then, if you know what's right, do what's right. I'm just, you know, I see a lot of the women on the TV and stuff, they complaining on the news about how they've been treated and whatnot. But I'm gonna tell you something. It's just like those women that accused Dr. Cosby. You remember I told you that, you know, women, you know, when you've wronged anybody, not just a woman, when you wronged a man or whatnot, let me tell you something. They wouldn't be ducking, they didn't duck CNN. They didn't duck MSNBC. Two of them Two of the women that accused Dr. Cosby came into our forum, Ms. Ruley and Jewel Allison, right? And I showed you that both of them was lying. Now, don't try to make it look like women won't lie. I didn't say you wouldn't lie. And you know you will lie. Just like a man can lie. When these people, when I asked Miss, the lady that used to be one of my high school teachers, Miss Allred, Gloria Allred. You know, at first I was kind of sympathetic to Miss Allred because, you know, I figured that they was taking misadvantage of her because Miss Allred had been raped when she went to, I think it was Acapulco or somewhere in Mexico. She had gotten raped. And she was afraid to report it because they might have killed her, you know, rather than let that come out. And I could understand. She wasn't in America. You know, she was on vacation or something down there. And so, you know, when that came out, I said, well, I can understand why she's sympathetic to these women because, you know, that happened to her. You know, but when, you know, you have to eventually, you know, just like when I was a little boy, I don't talk about a lot of the stuff that older fellas did to me when I was a youngster, you know, and I would never bring it up again because I don't forgave them. But the point is, you know, I'm not the same person, just like what Spock said when his brother was trying to remind him of how his daddy felt when he saw Spock look so human, you know, his brother thought that was bothering Spock all that time, even though it was in Spock's memory. And he told his brother, he said, you don't know me. He said, I'm not that little boy anymore. You know, I mean, some of the people that messed over me was, you know, they dead now. I didn't wish no death. I didn't wish no death on them or nothing. You know, that was just part of experience of growing up. But that don't make me every time I see something go, you know, or hear something that somebody say, start relating that to my experience and then trying to get some payback through doing something to somebody that I ain't seen no proof of. Do you understand? Yes. So when Miss Allred was talking to me, and I began to really question her about, you know, what she was trying to get Dr. Cosby to do about, you know, do away with your rights as a you know, statutory, you know, of the statutes having ran and whatnot. And I said, how could you advise him to give up his right to a speedy trial and hear these people bringing up something that they say he did to them back in the 70s and the 80s? And here you is in 2000 and something. And they white women too? Well, no white women scared of no black man back then. What do you mean they scared to report it? Any attorney would have jumped at the chance to sue Bill Cosby. And so I knew something was wrong when they brought out all them white women. And how many times did you ever see Bill Cosby out in the public dating a white woman? So I said, what is this? You know, and then they didn't have no proof. But I know Dr. Cosby had gave me an interview. He had been going around the country telling black people they need to be more conservative with their money, and they need to He even told them they needed to emulate the black Muslims. Then Fox News got busy. Now, I showed that Jewel Allison was lying. You remember when I asked her, did you wash your hands? I asked, did you go to the restroom before you left? She said she had got the stuff on her hands. Who would leave out with that on their hands? She was lying. Miss Ruley woke up naked. She woke up clothed. I mean, she don't know what she woke. I mean, all of them lying. But who's on trial now? They took him to trial. Then they hear a man confessing what he been doing to women. Huh? And they make him president. Because his skin is white. Then I told them they was going to be paid for how they did Dr. Cosby. They ain't learned their lesson yet. So now look, it's the man running for the Senate. Then come out, the woman sitting up there recounting, had his signature in her yearbook. Got a record that they had to keep him out of the mall. Because he over there. I mean, really. And yet that ain't enough evidence. Right? I don't hear nobody talking about taking him to court. You see, you all are some low down people. You know, I'm going to tell you something else. Back in the days where they was talking about, see, people play games. I used to date. I used to go to parties. I know what go on dates and parties. I didn't do no bunch of grass smoking. But rum and coke and scotch and milk, I used to drink that. And one of the things that men and women understood, she at the bar, you at the bar. Baby, can I buy you a drink? And they sit there and drink. If she liked you, she would say, yeah, you know. And you sit there talking, you leave together, and everybody knew what was going on. Huh? Why you want to pretend that you so innocent? That's what I don't appreciate. Here, these grown women want to talk about somebody took misadvantage of them. Even if something did happen, it was with consent. You know, I didn't run with brothers who was so desperate that they need to rape somebody. Man, please. Huh? I mean, why would you want anybody that don't want you? Dude, most men, if their wife act like they don't want it, they're gone then. I don't want it. Right? This is just the way. That's just human nature. Do you want to play the food that somebody don't want to serve you? Not me. Come there and plop my food down on I'm out of here. I'll go fix me something myself. I don't need you to fix me nothing. So here, this man wealthy. And they want to convince you that he had to go rape somebody. And yet, they started off accusing him of rape and then changed it. Now, either he raped you or he didn't. Did nobody seem to care that they changed the story? I mean, how did it go from rape to sexual assault? And then indecent assault. I don't know what that is. I mean, I think all us youngsters, when we was growing up in junior high school, walked by a sister and brush up against her. That was an indecent assault. On the behind or whatever, that was an indecent assault. Right? A lot of these sisters know that went on. Huh? But didn't nobody make no federal case out of it? Sometimes the sister would just say, "You better quit," or she'd stand around and slap you. Oh yeah. If she liked you, she might just say, "Don't do that," or something like that. But yeah, I told you I ain't trying to pretend I'm something that I was not. I ain't always thought like I do now. I was right along with the other brothers, doing a lot of things they was doing, just not as deep as they was in it. But you know, I did my share of things that I'm not proud of. You know, but that's part of what I experienced. What's wrong with that thing? Okay, so I want you to remember, they ducked me. Remember when I asked Gloria? She came on 2 times. You remember when I asked her to let me interview the Shelling and all of them? She said she would check with them. Now, since when do the lawyer have to check with the client? The lawyer bring the client where she think the client need to be brought. Why she didn't want to bring them in front of me? Because she knew I would be able to question them and prove they was lying. And so her, you know, she don't realize that that made me think pretty, you know, less of her, because I saw what she was doing. It never was about trying to get at justice. It was about helping to frame Dr. Cosby. And it was all about the money. So, you know, now all of them are now got egg on their face. Because if you could take Dr. Cosby to court, if the DA was charging Dr. Cosby with something with no evidence at all other than people's mouths that have been proven to be lying. If any one of those women that accused him came before me and I questioned them and gleaned that they were telling the truth, I would not be defending Dr. Cosby. But when they start running, you don't have to run when you got the truth. You notice, what was the first thing that you would think if somebody tried to take me up on my invitation to come in and let them host my broadcast, and they talk to me about what I teach, and I refuse after what I said? He said, what's that about? Thought he said he could talk to people who disagree with him. Huh? I mean, if something happened to you, What difference? What kind of question can I ask that gonna make a difference? It ain't gonna undo what happened to you. When I asked Jewel Allison the pointed questions that I asked her, and she couldn't give me no real worthwhile or substantive answer, she come asking me, what if it was your sister or your mother? Well, you want me to get emotional or not? You want me to let's say, well, if it was my mom or my sister, just what I told her, well, I'd ask my sister the same thing for proof. You want to defame this man without evidence? I'm not going to help you do that. I knew she was, that sealed it for me with her. When she started asking me, what if it was my sister or my mother? What it got to do with anything? It wasn't them. It was supposedly you. You didn't come in here to me just because we look alike and everything that means that I'm going to help you just hamstring somebody. I don't do that. You know, I won't help you do that to nobody. But I saw the things that they had, on Donald Trump, for instance. I heard the tape. I saw him talking. He had boasted about how he grabbed women, could do anything to him. Then why does it surprise you that women came out and said he did it to him? So, now you're finding out that this kind of stuff been going on. You remember Roger Ailes? He there helping hamstring Dr. Cosby when he actually was guilty of doing that stuff. And, according to what I gleaned out of what they was reporting, I told you, you're going to get it back. You leave Dr. Cosby alone. It'll sweep around your own front door. So, now, if anybody got something that they want to, here you got the police sent the woman in there with the wire and got Mr. Weinstein to talking. Said, you did this to me and that to me yesterday and whatnot. Well, it won't happen no more. Well, he admitted doing it. Well, the police was stupid back in Dr. Cosby's day. Dr. Cosby wasn't no producer. He was a star, period. A black one. Just now breaking on the scene of black people being stars in Hollywood. Now, if he was guilty of that kind of scandal, you suppose white people would have protected him? Now, you talk about having something to say. Now, you see what happened? Right? But he stayed among his own people. He dated his wife and he married her. Huh? He left white man's daughters alone. Huh? Then when they see him now talking to black people and trying to put some intelligence in our thinking, well, now I need to take away his celebrity. So just trot a bunch of white women out there like Janice Dickinson. She got out there and told it. We the stronger race. You know that came from a behind closed doors conversation. If all these white women say he did it, who you think they're gonna believe? Yeah, we the stronger race, and she got out there and let the cat out the bag. You know, I mean, why you think? Let me tell you something about security clearances. That's why they have security clearances, because some people can't hold water. You Sarah Palin out there telling everybody we playing chess. You know, so they want to be in the loop so bad. They want to be something that they just incapable of being. Some people are just not capable of thinking, but on a certain level. And so, now you done found out that they've been putting people in positions. Do you know why this investigation is so important? It's because it's starting to reveal that the American people are not actually the only ones who are electing their government. When outside nations intervene into America's elections, then they are helping to put their pick and their choose over the American people. And that's dangerous. And any American that loves this country would not allow that. They would not allow Russia or no other foreign nation to somehow be meddling in Americans' business of electing the leadership for this country. That's a serious thing. That's not a joke. Just like what President Trump calls false news, the false news, I'll grant you that CNN and MSNBC had a lot of lopsided news going when it came to Dr. Cosby. They did not stay neutral. They didn't ask no pertinent questions to all these accusers as to, wait a minute, you saying all of this, you say you was raped and you didn't go get a rape kit? You say you was drugged and you didn't go and get a toxicology report? Who gets drugged and go home instead of going to the hospital and reporting it? And the police. Because once you report that to the police, it's all for you. You ain't got to fear him. You ain't got to fear the man who drugged you. He got to fear you. They were lying. But in reality, I remember the messenger said this about the about blood. He said, a sick mother's milk is better than a healthy cow's milk for her baby. If I'm going to get news about America, I ain't going to go to that internet. I'm going to be very careful what I get off that internet. I would much rather get it from inside of America. Well, that's just the way I feel about that. Every patriot should feel the same about their nation. You're gonna let somebody who don't live in your country give you so much news about your country and they don't live there? You ain't never heard people say stuff that was going on in your house or somebody else's house that had never been in your house. And when they get through with it, boy, there's all kinds of stuff going on in your house. Is that right? So you got to be careful with that stuff. You let Americans tell you what's happening in America. Huh? And even then, it's a way to find out whether you can trust what they say. All you have to do is listen for a while. See what they stand for. If you want to know how a person feels about you or about this country or whatnot, look at their history. You don't on the one hand tell me that you care about the American people, but you all the time trying to undermine the America's government. Don't you know that all of the, I'm not saying all, but the majority of the bureaus, the bureaucracies that were created, there was a reason for it? For instance, the FDA. Why would you want to get rid of the FDA? Unless you're interested in poisoning the American people. You ought to want somebody to make sure that farmers are doing the right thing by the people who are buying their goods and the produce. You ought to want to know what's being fed to your people. And considering what God said about in the book of Revelation about destroying those who destroy the earth, let me see here. Let me see here. Let me see here. I like to. You better wake up. This is in the book of Revelation. It says in the 11th chapter, in the 18th verse, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. If you ain't scared, you better get scared. Burying all this nuclear waste and stuff in the earth. I'm about to destroy you. You better get with Greenpeace and all these other people that's trying to get you to stop poisoning this planet. The Environmental Protection Agency. You better make that more than just a name. All right. Don't say I didn't warn you. It's no accident that so many American people are on dialysis. But all these kidney problems here. You're being systematically destroyed. And it's being done to you by the permission of those who've been playing chess while you've been playing checks and balances, checkers. They've been moving people into your government to destroy you from within. Why they want to? You know the main reason they want to do away with the health care is because they are afraid. See, they don't control all the scientists. And they are afraid that with all these people now able to get health care, some of the scientists going to discover what they've been doing to the American people. Purposely poisoning you. You know, just like they finally came out that they poisoned the whole city with lead. They purposely took them off of a good water system and put them on one that's not no good, that they knew would erode those pipes and let that lead get into the people. They took the treatment that plant should have been getting and didn't give it. Discontinued the treatment. So I'm telling you, you need to wake up before it's too late. Allah says in his book that except those days be shortened, there would no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, God will shorten the days. Here you got all of these people out here. You look at the so-called, I want all of you who call yourselves evangelicals. I want all of you to hear this. You claim to be a believer in the Word of God, but the Word of God condemns you. It's and you proving it with this man that you finding out that man don't believe in God's Word. He run around here preying on the youngsters. Tried to rape the girl. Look at what the book says here. This is let me find it. I want you to see these things. It says, in the book of Matthew, the 7th chapter. In the 7th chapter of Matthew, and I want you to turn to the 7th chapter of the Holy Quran. In the 7th chapter of the Holy Quran, in the 26th verse, it says, O children of Adam. Now remember now, there's two Adams, and we are to become the children of both. Do you understand? As we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image or the mind of the heavenly. Right? Now, let's make sure you understand these things. I want you all to understand that, as I told you, it ain't got nothing to do with your skin color now. That was just put there to help the devil hide himself. See? But it's time now that you all know the truth. So I want you to turn, mark the 7th chapter of Matthew, and then go to 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter. I want you to see these things. In the 15th chapter of 1 Corinthians, it reads as follows. In the 45th verse, it says, and so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Says, howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural. Now, in the Holy Quran, it calls the first Adam, the first mind that would be perfected in us as a species, would be called jinn. The jinn. The Holy Quran says, surely we created man of sounding clay, of black mud, fashioned into shape. And the jinn we created before, meaning first, of intensely hot fire. Where did all of this earth that you grow your food and everything out of, where did it come from? Came from intensely hot fire. And we gave them dominion over the earth and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, which means we gave them a mind that could master the physical creation. We created the mind in them of intensely hot fire. Do you understand? Everything that you learned of, the plants and all of these animals and things that's walking around here, they came out of the earth, which came from intensely hot fire. So when you learned about these animals and things, you were actually, the mind that is in you was created from intensely hot fire. Do you understand? Okay. Now, is anybody that don't understand that? All right. Now, so the first man is earthy. Look at what it says here. Howbeit, this the 46th verse of 1 Corinthians, 15th chapter. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural. The natural mind. And it says, and afterward, that which is spiritual. The first man is of the what? The first mind. That's what the mind does to your body. The same thing that the body does to the earth. Our bodies man the earth. The mind in us that dictates how to man the earth mans our body. Do you understand? Okay, so the first mind is earthy. It says the first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. Just as you notice, you have a term that you say landlord. Right? Well, that means he's the physical Lord over that property. Is that right? Yeah, but there's another Lord, a mind that when you properly understand it, that Christ brought. They brought it in parts, just like all your education. It came in parts. Even your natural education came in parts. First grade, second grade, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, in parts. Is that right? Okay. All the way up through college. All right. Likewise, the last man, the second man, the second mind. Remember Jesus, when you do something the first time, what do you call it when a second time happens? You say again, huh? What did Jesus say to Nicodemus? Except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom. Well, what do you mean born again? Well, you had a natural birth, but you got to be born again a second time because there's a second Adam. Is that right? So born again makes sense now, huh? All right. Now let's go further. He said, as is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. You notice the prophets, they were one brotherhood. And all of them were in agreement with each other. Just like the people of earth. All the scientific community, all of the teachers of the earth and its creatures and all of that, they are of the same mind. Do you understand? And they all agree on physics. You go to Japan, China, any of them, when you start talking about the table of elements, they don't have a different table of elements. It's all the same table. Is that right? Okay, well, when you go to the prophets, they all are the same too. As is the earthy, such are they that are earthy. So we have borne the image. We have borne the knowledge of the earthy. We went through a school system and we learned about the table of elements. If it's just like what the messenger shared with me and everybody in the nation about what is the square mileage of the earth? How much is the land? How much is the water? He said, the earth is 196,940,000 square miles. The land is 57,255,000 square miles. The water is 139,685,000 square miles. That's in a good dictionary. You can find that in a dictionary. And it even gives more exact than 940,000. 196,940,000 square miles. It even gets it closer. Do you understand? So, as is the earthy, such are they that are earthy. Jesus said it like this. He said, make to yourselves friends. Learn to obey the natural mind, the natural knowledge, so that when it fails to bring you peace of mind and contentment, then you will realize that ain't enough. And they will receive you into everlasting habitation. The spiritual knowledge, which is what you need to be a complete human being. Do you understand? So let's go a little further. He says now, and as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Meaning what? You've received the knowledge of education in the books. That's what are books? You don't see words on the pages in no book. What you see are images that represent words. And then you are taught what those images mean, and then to you, those images mean words. Is that right? And then you take that image up off that page with your mind, you read that image, and you bear that image in your mind. As we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now that you have, let's go back to the earthy first. You notice they don't just give you the book with the image of the earthy in it. They don't just give you books and send you away. They give you the book and tell you now, get in the class, sit down, shut your mouth, and let the teacher guide you. Is that right? And pay attention. Now, Allah gave you the books. That's why it was so important that the gospel, that as Jesus said, this gospel must be published or preached to all nations for a witness. What do your book do when the teacher talking? The teacher shows you that the book bears witness to what they are saying. Is that right? Well, likewise, you got your books because that's the first thing you get before the teacher starts teaching. They issue you books. Is that right? Once you have been issued the book, then the teacher can come and start class. So the books had to come first. The prophets finished the books. Then it was just a matter of, now wait on the Lord. That's what David told you. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage, and he will strengthen your heart. He said, wait, I say, on the Lord. And then they even gave you a hint to when the Lord would be here. Said, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. You see? So you couldn't even talk about the Lord coming before Elijah got here. Once Elijah got here, then Elijah started telling you about my coming. He said, nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. That's what he told you. Now, if I'm not the one that the word is with, it says the word was with God. Now, if I'm not the one that the word is with, why am I the only one that can teach you the understanding of it? No one else can teach you like I'm teaching you. Okay. Now, in that same verse, it says that you're going to bear the image of the heavenly. Well, who's going to put that knowledge in you? Somebody had to put the knowledge of them earthy books in your head. The teacher had to do it. But it ain't but one Lord. Ain't going to be no confusion. That's why I needed the internet. That's why the messenger said, I'm warning you of that trumpet that won't just be from the mouth of a man. It will be passed through a mechanical instrument. That's the trumpet I'm warning you to beware of. You'll notice my voice is maybe originating here in this United States of America and in the state called Mississippi. But it's going all around the earth. And for the first time in your life, if you be honest, the Holy Scripture is starting to be very relevant to you. It's making sense to you now. So now, the same way that your brain, you notice, our physical bodies, when we are born, do we have clothes on? We come here naked, don't we? But we don't consider that a good thing, do we? Nature teaches us that, no, you need to clothe yourself. Right? So the first thing you do when the baby get here, you wipe him off, clean him up, give him a bath, and put some clothes on him. Is that right? What did Allah say in the 7th chapter of the Holy Quran? It says, O children of Adam, we have indeed sent down to you clothing to cover your shame. When you was born into the world, your body was physically naked, but your brain was naked too. And we had to clothe you with knowledge, didn't we? Now, we had to put on first the clothing of the natural mind. Is that right? We had to clothe ourselves with the knowledge of the natural mind, which was the natural creation made from fire. Is that right? And we became engineers. We became doctors. We became farmers. We became construction engineers. We're all types of engineers, right? Agricultural, you name it. We clothed ourselves in that knowledge. As a species, we did, right? Okay, that's not enough. We know that's not enough now because we're not at peace. We got all that knowledge. We know how to make beautiful cities. We know how to make planes and vehicles that will take us actually in and out of the atmosphere of the earth. As a species, we know how to do that. But we have not learned how to get along with each other. How do you expect to get along with the world when you don't even hardly get along with yourself? How many times you done woke up grumpy and didn't have no real reason for it. You just didn't want to be bothered with you was so in such a frame of mind that you couldn't hardly stand yourself. Don't tell me people don't get to the point where they can't stand themselves. What do you think suicide is? Huh? And James Brown made that song, Can't Stand Myself. Is that right? So, you know, why? Because with all that I have, ain't got no peace. Well, that's why we let you learn all of these things. We wanted you to come to the conclusion. Like that song, Pink, I think her name was Peggy Lee or Pinky Lee. Is that all there is? You know, went to the circus, saw it, and afterwards over it. I said, is that all there is? Is it all we are meant for? Is all we're meant for is to live and produce children and compete for wealth and then become dust again, die, grow old, die. On this little ball here that don't even amount to a speck in space. Is that all that we're meant for? What a joke. And what a waste. Then Allah says, no, that's not all there is. But we needed you to realize that the natural is not enough. We need you to take the cap off, to take the lid off, and realize that the mind, the natural, is only a foundation. It's not the building. It's just a foundation. Because if you don't understand the natural, as Jesus said to Nicodemus, if I have told you earthly things and you have not believed, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? That's like a scientist of this world talking to you about basic math. And after you've learned basic math, then he just out of the blue tells you, well, look, I know you think that addition and multiplication and division and subtraction are 4 different things, but they are actually only 2 different things. Multiplication is just a shortcut for addition. And division is a shortcut to subtraction. You say, oh, wait a minute. How can this be? I tell you what, let's talk about algebra and trig. They say, wait a minute, man. If you can't perceive that multiplication and addition are basically the same thing, it's just one is a quicker way of doing it. If you can't grasp that, how in the world do you think you're going to grasp algebra and geometry and trigonometry? I can't even begin talking to you about those things. If you don't see the logic in what I just said about So likewise, that's what Jesus was telling Nicodemus. If I have told you earthly things and you have not believed, remember, he told Nicodemus, look, that which is born of the flesh is flesh. This does away with the lie, just like they finally told the truth that Joseph was Jesus' daddy when this congressman or this senator got caught doing something he had no business. Then he wanted to talk about how Mary was much younger than Joseph, right? But they gave birth to Jesus, right? They ain't never told you that till he got in trouble. Then he decided he gonna tell you about Jesus and Mary. I mean Joseph and Mary. But anyway, the point is, as Jesus told him, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. Now that's an earthly knowledge. That's earthly truth. If you know something about the genes or the chemistry of man, then you know that it takes flesh and blood, 23 chromosomal bodies from the female uniting with 23 chromosomal bodies of the male to produce another flesh and blood human being. Is that right? Okay, so Jesus told him that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. And Nicodemus started asking him, well, how can these things be? I mean, how can these things be? You supposed to be a master in Israel and you don't know this? That's what Jesus asked him. Art thou a master of Israel and knowest not these things? And so he told him, if I've told you earthly things and you haven't believed, how shall you believe if I tell you heavenly things? And so it's getting late and I'm going to have to cut it off. But I wanted to give you this in here. So now that you understand that the brain comes here naked, like the body comes here naked, right? Okay, then knowledge is clothing. So the first knowledge that we had to receive was the natural knowledge. Okay, O children of Adam, we have indeed sent down to you clothing to cover your shame, and clothing for beauty, and clothing that guards against evil, that is the best. We have indeed sent down to you clothing or knowledge for your natural existence, and we have sent down to you clothing for your spiritual existence to guard you against the doing of evil and whatnot. And when you put the two together, it makes you a beautiful person. Do you understand? Now, in the 7th chapter of Matthew, it says, in the 7th chapter of Matthew, and we go down to the 13th verse. It says, enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there are that go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that findeth it. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing. Remember what the clothing is. These people who try to, a snake, they tell you be careful when you go out in the woods. They're just flipping over a rock. Maybe a snake up under there. And you notice Jesus referred to the truth that he was teaching as a rock. Upon this rock, I will build my church. Upon this truth, I will build my church. But the serpent, he said he would lie in wait for them in thy straight path. Now, all of you who've been pretending to be evangelicals, if you so believing in God, why are you condoning and upholding racists and bigots and rapists and you name it, all of this wickedness that that people are doing, and you claim to be a believer in the word of God. You are nothing but a ravening wolf trying to hide under scripture or sheep's clothing. David, and he called the prophets. He said, we are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Jesus said, all of them, they are the sheep. And they brought the spiritual books or the food that Allah told me to eat up. So they are my pasture. They brought the knowledge that God told me to eat up. So David rightly said, he said, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye land. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Enter into his courts with praise. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that have made us and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep that brought his pasture. That's right. So don't let these crooks hide and try to throw a scripture at you. Don't know them by what came out their mouth. Know them by what they do. And you will bear me witness. There ain't nothing but snakes hiding up under a rock. They even got a question they used to ask each other. What rock did you crawl out from under? That ain't no accident. So I'm going to call it a night now. It's 11 o'clock. And may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. Remind me Friday, I'll go back into this again. May Allah's salam alaikum.